The rain fell steadily that November evening, drumming a soft rhythm against the windows of the red van parked at the edge of the shopping center. Inside, Sarah Mitchell sat in the open sliding door. Her 4-year-old daughter, Emma, nestled against her chest, clutching a worn teddy bear. Sarah was 28, with light brown hair that fell past her shoulders and eyes that held both determination and exhaustion. She wore simple jeans and a blue t-shirt, the kind of practical clothes that had become her uniform these past few months. Emma, small for her age, had inherited her mother's hair color and wore a light blue cardigan over a pink skirt, her tiny pink shoes barely touching the edge of the van's floor. This van had become their home 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks since the eviction notice. 3 weeks since Sarah's modest savings had run dry after medical bills from Emma's pneumonia the previous winter. "Mama, are we going to sleep here again?" Emma asked softly, her voice barely audible above the rain. Sarah pulled her daughter closer, kissing the top of her head. "Just for a little while longer, sweetheart. Just until Mama finds us a proper place." The truth was harder than Sarah wanted to admit. She worked 2 jobs, cleaning offices at night and waitressing during the day, but childcare costs and the deposit for an apartment seemed impossibly far away. Every dollar went to keeping Emma fed, keeping gas in the van, keeping them going just one more day. She had parked here, at the Bradford Center, because the security was good and the lights stayed on all night. It felt safer than the darker side streets, safer for Emma. That's all that mattered now. As Sarah began to close the sliding door against the rain, preparing to settle Emma into their makeshift bed in the back, a figure appeared outside. A man in a dark coat, holding a black umbrella, stood in the rain, looking at them with concern. Sarah's first instinct was to pull Emma closer, to slide the door shut quickly. But something in the man's expression stopped her. It wasn't judgment or anger. It was something else. Something gentle. "Excuse me," he said, his voice calm and respectful. "I'm David Reynolds. I own the company in that building there." He gestured to the main office building of the complex. "Are you and your little one all right?" Sarah felt her cheeks flush with embarrassment. This was it, the moment she'd been dreading. They'd be told to move along, to take their problems somewhere else. "We're fine," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. We'll be leaving soon." David was in his early 50s, with dark hair touched with gray at the temples and kind eyes that seemed to understand more than Sarah was saying. He wore an expensive coat over a dark sweater, the kind of clothing that spoke of success and stability, things that felt like distant memories to Sarah now. "Please," David said, crouching down slightly so he was closer to their level. "I'm not here to ask you to leave. I saw you here last night too, and the night before. I wanted to make sure you were okay." Sarah felt tears threatening. Kindness was somehow harder to face than hostility. "We're managing," she whispered. David was quiet for a moment, rain pattering on his umbrella. Then he said something Sarah didn't expect. "Would you let me help?" "I don't take charity," Sarah said quickly, the words coming out sharper than she intended. "I'm not offering charity," David replied gently. "I'm offering a job, and maybe a chance." Over the next hour, in the warmth of the building's lobby where David had invited them, Sarah learned his story. David Reynolds had built his software company from nothing, working 3 jobs while putting himself through community college 30 years ago. He'd known hunger. He'd known the shame of not having enough. "I slept in my car for 4 months back in 1994, he told Sarah while Emma dozed on a lobby couch. "Nobody helped me then. I've always regretted that I didn't have someone who saw me, really saw me, and offered a hand up instead of just spare change." Sarah listened, holding her sleeping daughter, feeling something she hadn't felt in months. Hope. David's offer was simple and dignified. His company needed someone to manage the office facilities, not just cleaning, but coordinating maintenance, supplies, scheduling. It was a real job with a real salary, enough for an apartment, enough for stability. But why? Sarah asked, her voice breaking. "You don't even know me." David smiled, a sad, understanding smile. "Because 30 years ago I was you. And because nobody should have to raise their child in a van when they're working as hard as you are. What Sarah didn't know was that David had lost his own daughter 10 years earlier to a car accident. She'd been 23, bright and beautiful, with her whole life ahead of her. Seeing Sarah and Emma in that van, seeing that little girl clutching her teddy bear, it had broken something open in David's heart that he'd kept carefully locked away. The next week moved quickly. David helped Sarah find a small apartment near good schools. The company paid the deposit as an advance on her salary. Sarah started her new job, working regular hours with benefits and respect. Emma enrolled in the preschool program at the local elementary school. On Sarah's first official day, David stopped by her new office, a real office with her name on the door. Sarah Mitchell, Facilities Director. She still couldn't quite believe it. You settling in okay? David asked. Mr. Reynolds? Sarah said, her voice thick with emotion. I don't know how to thank you. David, he corrected gently. And you don't need to thank me. You're earning every penny with your work. I've already gotten 3 compliments about how much more organized everything is. Sarah smiled, but tears slipped down her cheeks anyway. You saw us that night. Really saw us? Do you know how rare that is? Most people looked right through us like we were invisible. David was quiet for a moment. My daughter Rachel used to volunteer at a homeless shelter. She always said that the hardest part for the people there wasn't the lack of housing, it was being invisible. Being looked through instead of looked at? He paused. I learned a lot from her. As months passed, Sarah and Emma flourished. The apartment became a home, filled with Emma's artwork and Sarah's plants. Emma made friends at school. Sarah found confidence she didn't know she had, implementing systems that saved the company money and improved efficiency. But more than that, an unlikely friendship grew between Sarah and David. He became a grandfather figure to Emma, teaching her chess on lunch breaks and always remembering her birthday. For David, they filled an emptiness that success and money never could. One evening, nearly a year after that rainy night, Sarah invited David for dinner in her apartment. It was simple food, spaghetti and salad, but made with care and gratitude. You know what I've learned this year? Sarah said as Emma played nearby. That kindness isn't just changing someone's circumstances. It's seeing their humanity when they can barely see it themselves. David looked at Emma, now 5 and thriving, then back at Sarah. And you've taught me something too. That helping others doesn't just change their life, it heals something in your own. They sat in comfortable silence, watching Emma play. 2 people who'd both known loss and hardship, connected now by a moment of compassion on a rainy night. The red van was long gone, sold for a down payment on a reliable sedan. But Sarah kept a photo of it on her desk, not as a reminder of hard times, but as a reminder of the night everything changed. The night someone knocked on the window and saw them, really saw them, and every day Sarah made a promise to herself to see others the way David had seen her. To remember that everyone has a story, everyone is fighting a battle, and sometimes all it takes is one person willing to look with kindness instead of judgment. That's how the world changes. One kind act, one moment of seeing, one knock on a window in the rain, and that's everything.